Hey everybody, welcome to Mark Bell's Power Project Podcast. This episode of the podcast is brought to you by Element Electrolytes. Nsima, can you do me a favor? Can you tell these beautiful people why electrolytes are so important?
All right, what's up, beautiful people of the Power Project? Let's talk for a second, okay? So we know that we need adequate nutrition for our performance. We also hear the buzzword adequate hydration. And when we think of hydration, and when I used to think of hydration, I was like, drink a lot of water. Always have your gallon and a half of water a day. That's how you do it. So I'd drink a lot of water and I'd cramp up during workouts. I'd be like, what the fuck? Maybe I didn't eat enough food. What's going on here? This is not okay. But what was happening to me is I wasn't adequately hydrated in terms of my electrolytes. So I drink a lot of water, but that water just goes through your system. You sweat a lot, you get rid of a lot of sodium, you cramp up. That's how it goes. But Element, with its easy little packets that have 1,000 milligrams of sodium, 200 milligrams of potassium, 60 milligrams of magnesium, which is the perfect amount of electrolytes you need, will hydrate you well before you work out. I personally like to take just a quick bottle of water or fill my shaker cup with some water, put an Element packet in, drink the whole thing, work out. I don't cramp up. I feel great, even though I sweat a ton. I'm literally the most disgusting sweater, right? I don't cramp up anymore because I am hydrated and I actually have adequate hydration. It's more than just drinking water. Electrolytes send electrical signals to your muscles to help you get your pump. So you need this stuff. You need this stuff.
He does sweat a lot. You guys can order your Element Electrolytes today by heading over to drinklmnt.com/powerproject. Make sure you guys check out the value bundles because that's like getting 4 boxes for the price of 3. On top of that, you get free shipping. Again, that's drinklmnt.com/powerproject.
Oh my God. What are we talking about today? SARMs?
Yeah, SARMs, Tren, Debo, all the stuff.
Your last cycle.
My last cycle.
I thought you said Debo.
That was a joke.
Oh, Debo.
Before we get to Debo, that was a joke. Okay, gotta clarify.
So anyways.
Yeah, Debo.
I was just trying to roll right over
Fuck
it.
you.
Hey, did you guys see the clip that CT Fletcher posted? He posted a clip. I saw it on Twitter. I don't know if he posted it anywhere else. He posted a clip of a movie that he's in with Debo, and CT is Mind Bullet Shot.
Mind Bullet Shot.
Right to the dome. I already did mine, but salute.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, CT was in a movie with Debo, and he was Mr. T, and it was amazing. He CT Fletcher, like as an actor, is like the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life. He comes busting through the door, and he is like talking about this like profit and all this stuff, and he's doing. Can you play some of it?
I can.
Yeah, you gotta fucking watch. This is amazing.
Is this the one?
Wait, that's CT?
Yeah. He's all jacked.
Oh my gosh! Hold on, let me turn this.
Wow,
but he was awesome. Like whatever the hell this is, like I want to watch the whole thing. We're working on getting some of that audio going.
Was it ready?
You know, that's crazy though, because when CT walks,
he's doing his fucking CT shit.
He kind of looks like Mr. T when he walks through the door. It's crazy.
Yeah, he does, right?
In 1462, Nostradamus predicted that a bad motherfucker would appear upon the land. The sun will refuse to shine, and the darkness would fall upon the land. Today is the day. Prepare thyself. The Superfly is here. What's up? My name is Superfly. With free 8-tracks, little kids, but everybody will make a donation or I will should night your ass.
What the hell is this?
Even your punk ass.
This is unbelievable. You guys got to see the video of this.
Everybody empty your pockets.
Oh my God.
Listen to the man. Yeah.
Yeah, we're good. We're good on that.
Oh shit!
I almost thought that was Sylvester Stallone real quick, but it wasn't. Oh God. That next guy after Debo. What movie? Like this looks like an old 80s like
It looks incredible.
parody.
I'll have to ask CT what the hell's going on with that.
Oh my gosh.
I just thought this was pretty interesting. Some guy wearing strong sleeves.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
On a CT video.
Mm-hmm. Anyway.
Yeah, that anyway, that was hilarious. But what happened to Debo? Anybody know?
I don't know.
Just heart attack or something?
Maybe.
I mean, he was not that. He can't be that old.
He I don't think so. I don't know. I didn't see what got him.
Anyway, too bad.
Yeah, that sucks.
But anyway, we're talking about Nsima cycle.
Shut the hell up, because people are gonna think you're being real. You know, I got a message the other day, and a guy was like, "Glad you took Natty out of your name. now I can watch your stuff without you being a fucking clown. I was like,
God, so
damn.
aggressive.
Just because I take it out of my name doesn't mean I'm not.
Let's read hateful quotes this morning.
Yeah. Oh, you got something?
Yeah, I've had a lot of people hating on me in the last couple of days.
Was it because of your birthday photo that you posted with the undies? Did you get an influx after that?
That was so good. It's my birthday. Fuck y'all.
So this is actually this was actually on my birthday too.
Oh God!
But
Dick.
I actually think this is funny. So Rick Bowman is the guy's name. He posted this. Smokey sent me this.
This is good.
So Rick, good job, because I like when somebody throws some shit at you. It's good when it's funny.
Yeah.
This is in reference to the bicep board.
Oh Lord.
And he said, I hope you're not using the sales to make your house payment. Otherwise, you'll be living in a box. I thought that was pretty good.
Hey, it's witty.
I was going to take a picture outside my house and be like, hey, here's my box.
Yeah. Sold a couple.
Yeah, right.
But the internet always wins.
5 boxes, I guess I got.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The internet always wins, though. I love the interaction we can get on a daily basis. It's awesome.
Yeah, for the most part, everybody that tunes into this show, they're super awesome.
Really?
But every once in a while,
Yeah.
I'll get called an egghead.
An egghead?
Yeah.
This is why I wear hats. This is why I wear hats. Because once y'all see the back of this head, you don't unsee it.
But no, I was just like, well, but isn't like an egghead somebody who's smart, like did good in school? Like Andrew definitely didn't do that. And he's like, exactly. I'm like, well, then your first, whatever comment doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm an egghead because I corrected his English.
Mm-hmm.
I like eggs.
I like eggs too.
Good source of protein, right?
Yeah, they're great.
I eat them
Formerly
every
rated
single
number
day.
1.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'd eat you every day. You're an egghead.
Mm-hmm.
Then go down on cereal.
Then go down on cereal. That's a reference to our last episode, guys. If you missed it, it was great.
That was interesting choice of words.
I think you probably meant get down on
No,
cereal.
I meant go down on cereal.
Oh, you literally meant
For me, cereal is a sexual thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cereal's good.
It that's why I don't eat it anymore. It causes problems in the relationship.
You picture him, he's like licking the outside of the bowl. Like, what in the hell's going on over there? Like, oh, he just freezes.
I thought we talked about this. You said you weren't going to do it anymore.
He's all like poking at it and stuff with his finger.
Oh.
Hey now.
Oh, but
So I guess the mind bullet kicked in.
Anyway.
yeah, it's been in. I mean, it's been kicked in, not it's been.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay. Anyway.
All right. Let's talk about some supplements today.
Let's.
Do they really do anything?
Do they?
Do they? You tell us.
I don't know.
Do they do anything? Like, do they work? That's like when you ask if something works is like it's a very interesting question, because then you got to define like, what does that mean for like work, So like, I guess, does pre-workout work? Yeah, I think it like, does a cup of coffee in the morning work?
Mm-hmm.
I think it kind of works.
It does.
Yeah,
it definitely does.
Even eating foods that are unhealthy but extremely tasty, like that. The problem is that it works, and it works really well. It satisfies the craving and it hits the dopamine receptors, and you're like, yeah, that's what I was looking for. So I would say like a pre-workout works pretty good. I personally don't use pre-workout that often, although I will have like an energy drink here and there, which I guess is kind of the same thing.
Oh yeah, caffeine.
Yeah, it's caffeine. I never really got into, not too much anyway, some of the kind of crazier pre-workout type things like Redline and some of the powders. And I know some of my friends would, scoop those up a bunch. But I mean, I guess if you're working out a little bit better because you had a pre-workout, I think that has some value. Mm-hmm. I also don't really love the reliance on stuff all the time. Yeah. And so like, if you forgot your pre-workout, you shouldn't feel like you have to fucking drive back home. Like, that's ridiculous. Don't be such a pussy. Like, man up and get your shit done. And it shouldn't matter if there's music on. It shouldn't matter. You shouldn't need all these bunch of factors to go in and have a good training session, you know?
Yeah.
But I think pre-workout works pretty good. What do you think?
I think it does. So the big thing about pre-workout is the caffeine. But like when you mentioned pre-workout, there's the way that I think about supplements now. And then there's the way I was thinking about supplements when I was 16, 17, 18. And I was thinking back to that shit because I like...
This evolution is funny because like I talked about this with somebody when I was at a trade show one time, and they were like, do you find that you're starting to like take supplements for like your heart and your eyes and shit? I'm like, yeah, dude. I was like, it's really, it's really depressing. You know, before I wanted to take shit for like, I'm sitting there thinking about, oh yeah, my pancreas or whatever, or my fucking liver could use some support or whatever, you know? When I was younger, I'm like, I want this vein bursting pumps or whatever the hell they're trying to sell you on.
Yeah, no, but the thing is, like when I was younger, man, you'd hear about like whey protein, and I use that voice is because whey protein had that effect. Like you think that when you start drinking more protein, you're going to grow. And same thing with pre-workout. Pre-workout is supposed to help you work out longer and have vein bursting pumps and all that type of stuff. I used to take a lot of pre-workout when I was younger. And because again, it would get you all stimulated and shit, you'd think it's doing its job, right? Every single workout, it's doing its job. Higher doses of that pre-workout, it's doing its job. I just remember something really funny. My buddy Brian, when I started, taking protein, I got it from Costco. I think it was something gold. Do you guys remember?
Like maybe it was Gold Standard.
Gold Standard.
Yeah.
When I got my first
Optimum
Nutrition Gold Standard with the red and gold label or whatever. When I got my first tub of that stuff, I was taking like, dude, I think the dosage was, or the whatever, it was 30 grams per scoop. I took like 4 scoops of that a day, right? And that was a time in my life when I wasn't paying much attention to my diet. Like I was just eating a lot. And then when you add in like 150 more grams of protein from whey protein, you're gonna get like you're gonna continue.
Yeah,
it just puts you in that surplus of calories. But I wasn't thinking in that way. Okay, so I was like, yeah, I'm getting bigger, I'm getting stronger because of protein. And my buddy started using the same thing, Gold Standard. And he started getting bigger too over time because he took like 6 or 7 scoops along with making oatmeal in his shake and everything. And he was gaining weight. And I went to his house one day and his mom's like, Nsima, you need to tell Brian to stop taking this. He's getting big and mad. Big and mad. Because as he started like getting bigger, he started like his aggression started building up. So he's like, yeah, man, I'm feeling all aggressive and shit.
Probably also because you guys are young.
You were young, right? It was just like, it's so funny. But all that we were doing was just eating more protein.
Eating like an extra 600 calories from powder.
Yeah. And shakes. Like, yeah, that's all it was. But like you attribute all of that, since you don't know what's going on nutritionally, you think it's the whey protein.
It's the badger milk. You guys remember that from the animal, Rob Schneider?
Yeah. Oh man,
that's funny. Well, I mean, we'll get to creatine, but I remember hearing a lot about creatine and like the side effects from that. Like, oh, just gonna add water to your muscles and blah blah blah. That was the most common one. But I know somebody that said that it made them aggressive as well, and I just thought it was. I'm like, no, it doesn't. Okay, but that's cool.
But yeah, that's the thing. Just being young, even pre-workout made me feel like more aggression because like I'd go into the gym with aggression, right?
Oh, yeah.
So when you take that pre-workout and it's like, you shot it down because you're too hardcore to mix it with water, which is what I did, right? I just take the pure scoop to the mouth with a little bit of water. I'd feel like, oh yeah, I'm about to have this great workout, but no, I'm caffeinated.
Mm-hmm. Let's just first of all make a blanket statement of nothing can replace good sleep, good rest, trying to figuring out ways of managing your stress levels. We talked about this a million times on the show, but like a great way to manage your stress levels is not to fall behind on stuff. Try to be prepared for stuff. And that alone will help you grow. If you look at a lot of bodybuilders, it's not every bodybuilder across the board, but a lot of them are like mellow as fuck and they're huge. They're super jacked. And a lot of it's probably because they manage their stress, getting good sleep, and your food is huge, So even though we are talking today a lot about supplements, we're not saying that your supplement's going to replace your food. They're in addition to your food. It's supplemental. It's something extra that you're going to take.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. But that's the thing with subs. Like when you're starting out, you put more weight on what you're going to get from that supplement than the amount of food you intake, the amount of protein you intake each day, the amount of sleep that you get each night to be able to fuel your consistent workouts that you should be doing consistently over a long period of time.
Get 4 hours of sleep, but then you take a pre-workout.
Take pre-workout, bro. Like take that pre-workout, get in the gym, go hard, maybe get a double day in, sleep 4 hours the next night. But yeah, I think though, like as I got older, I started understanding more about, first off, nutrition. I started continuing to be consistent in what I was doing. And then I realized that the pre-workout really wasn't doing much of anything. Personally, the BCAAs weren't doing much of anything. All of those things, I gave them a lot of importance because I needed something kind of to give me some motivation. If anything, taking that protein motivated me to continue on my habits to continue to work out over time. But the real thing that protein did, and I think whey protein is great if we're going to talk about a supplement, but the thing that it does is it allows you to easily get in the amount of protein you need to be able to gain muscle over time, because it doesn't fill you up really. Like you could still eat a meal. If you're trying to get in 250 grams of protein each day through purely meat, you can do it, but you're going to be feeling kind of full each day and you're going to have a little bit of gastric distress, right?
I love protein shakes. I've been drinking protein shakes for probably 25 years or whatever.
Did you say you've been drinking 2?
Yeah, 2 a day. 2 a day every day forever. For as long as I can remember. Sometimes I have more.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've always enjoyed protein shakes. I think having things that make staying on plan and on point easier is really important. Mm-hmm. So like, what do I like about a protein shake? Well, one, it's towards my goals. It usually has hardly any fat in it. Usually doesn't have any carbohydrates in it. It's mainly just protein. Sometimes I'll mix it with stuff that has other things in it or whatever. But yeah, for the most part, it's the low calorie, high protein, and I like the taste of it. Like I enjoy them. I like, even I'm so weird about it. I've been doing it for so long that I'll make all different kinds of shakes. Like I make different flavored ones and different types and put different combinations in. Like I got like collagen, I got casein. I'm like, mixing shit up, and it gives me something to do. Yeah. I don't drink alcohol. I don't smoke weed. I don't do like a bunch of other extracurricular activities. I don't really care to be at like a party. Like I love to lift, I love fitness. I'm kind of boring, I'm pretty straight when it comes to that, a lot of that stuff. Mm-hmm. And for me, it's like it's part of a hobby. The whole thing is part of a hobby. Like, going into my pantry and like, grabbing the supplements or whatever. I usually have some sort of supplement with almost every meal, whether it's fish oil or vitamin D or whatever the hell it is that I'm kind of reaching for. But back to the protein shakes for a minute. I have found that protein shakes I feel that they've worked for me. I feel that they've helped me to manage my muscle mass over a long period of time. I don't know that for a fact. Like if you're like, hey man, no protein shakes for a couple weeks, I'd probably just be like mad that I can't drink them. But everybody in here wouldn't be like, dude, man, like you look like shit. You're not having any. So do they do anything? They help me stay on point, as you mentioned. They help me get my protein requirements. If you actually go ahead and do some research, go ahead and Google whey protein and start to look it up. And when you look it up, you'll be actually shocked and surprised at how much research there is behind whey protein. They oftentimes say that creatine is like the number one and most researched one, and that's the supplement that you need. And I disagree. I'd put whey protein above that any day of the week. And because I think protein is just that essential, and almost everybody can use more of it. So, do a little research and check out some of the information on protein. But whey protein, back in the day, they used to have like a rating to protein, and they had whey protein was like 110. Eggs were like 90 something. And beef came in behind that in terms of your body's ability to assimilate this whey protein or proteins, period. And I think that a lot of times when people think about whey protein, they're like, oh, well, it's just in a drink and there's no way it can be even close to being nearly as effective as food. Mm-hmm. And again, we said in the beginning, we're not trying to replace your food. This is in addition to your food. I think it has its place. Lastly, I'll finish with this statement is that people make such a big deal about what protein does what, like the casein does this and this one does this. I don't have casein protein because it digests slower. It has a different texture and a slightly different flavor. And I mix the two together sometimes. So sometimes I mix the hydrolyzed slingshot protein with I think it's Dimetize is the one I use, casein protein. It just has a different flavor profile. So I mix them together a little bit.
Yeah.
But I just, I enjoy it. And I think when people are talking about like whether the whey protein spikes your glucose levels or your insulin levels and all this stuff, it might. But also I would say when you have your protein shake, I don't think it's a great idea to just down the damn thing. I don't think it's a good idea just to like drink it within 5 seconds. Like take your time with it because it does digest quickly. And I don't think the human body is really designed great to take in like large amounts of liquid sugar or large amounts of liquid protein and stuff like that. So just enjoy the drink, take your time with it. I actually, a lot of times will take like 15, 20 minutes, almost like a big old thing of coffee like you got there. You've been working on this coffee for like 2 hours, basically.
Dude, I'm jittery as hell. This is a Trenta freaking cold brew. I am shaking a little bit.
Yeah, so I'm a huge fan. I love whey protein.
Yeah. One thing I'll say is it's funny. When I was younger, casein thing too. Like I used to take some casein protein, and I think what is it? There's a yogurt that naturally has more casein. What was it again?
I know yogurt and cottage cheese.
Cottage cheese.
Yeah, cottage cheese. Yeah,
cottage cheese. Actually, like I would have my casein protein shake and cottage cheese before bed because of the slower digestion.
That's awesome.
Like these are all the things. Yeah. But again, it comes back to the idea that when you spend the money to buy a protein shake or to buy casein protein, in your head, you have this feeling that it's doing all these things, that naturally what happens is that it helps you stay in line with the big things that matter, which is making sure that you get enough sleep, making sure that you're getting in your workouts consistently over days, weeks, years. That gets you bigger. It's not the protein shake that got you bigger. Getting in the protein help, yeah, but it's not mainly because you drank that protein shake, right? Again, all of these things can be done with food, but these things will help you stay in line with your goals. Pre-workout is like, pre-workout's like a trigger. You have your pre-workout, gonna go fucking work out right now, get this pump, right? It's a trigger. Like with any type of habit, you have this thing that you do before you start something else. And
you bought something that you're going to take before you work out. So that implies that you're going to be training, right? I mean, it implies that you're going to be doing something. Just a little thing on any of these things. First of all, whey protein, don't go ingesting tons of it when you haven't tried it. You know what I mean? Like that's going to mess with your stomach and everything else, right? Find ones that work for you. I hear people a lot of times like, I tried protein and it just made me fart or whatever. You try, find ones that maybe are low in lactose or gluten free. Like there's so many options. And then with your pre-workout, be careful that it's not negatively impacting your sleep, because again, we have to always go back to, we have sleep and food are at the top of this food chain, and we want to make sure that we keep that way. So don't do shit that interrupts your sleep. Don't take so many supplements, they hurt your stomach or whatever, and they prevent you from eating food. You just start to get into some territory that gets to be a little ridiculous.
I have a question for you. How has your supplement use, because like my supplement use has really transformed over the years in terms of like the things that I used to think are important. Like I used to have a jug of BCAAs or gallon of BCAAs with some water, and I'd carry that around with me all the time. I'd always have my pre-workout before working out. I'd have my protein, I'd have my creatine. And now I still take some of those things, but the reason why I take them has totally changed, and my amount of importance I put behind those changed. So what is something that, like, because I used to think BCAAs were like the huge, what is something that you used to take that maybe you don't take anymore, and you found something else that actually does what that job is?
Yeah, I'm kind of forever, dropping stuff and then bringing new stuff in. And then as I bring new stuff in, I have to, drop out. I mean, I don't want to take like 1,000 pills a day or anything like that. I don't want it to be too crazy or over the top. I would say one of the biggest changes over the last couple of years is electrolytes. I just didn't really know a ton about them. I didn't know. I remember my mom telling me about them actually, because she was like, if you're going to exercise and you're going to be doing this stuff, you're going to need
Gatorade.
Electrolytes. Yeah. So Gatorade. And then she was always like, she'd always just say the word electrolytes. I don't know if she got it from the Gatorade commercials or what, but she would always, instead of saying Gatorade, she'd say electrolytes. So she was always onto something, but I didn't know much about them. I didn't know really the connection. I didn't know even what electrolytes were. Mm-hmm. But they are so effective. I mean, there's certain things that we could sit here and say, oh, Andrew, you should add a B vitamin complex to your daily routine because you don't really love eating beef that much. And if you added vitamin B, it might give you an energy boost. Vitamin B is in every single energy drink that you can think of pretty much. And vitamin B also doesn't really have a lot of negative side effects. You can take like large amounts of it without any like real negative impact. So there's a bunch of reasons to take it. But electrolytes have been something that was a real game changer, adding in some salt and potassium, like trying to figure out like where do you even get potassium from? Like, how do I get some of that into my diet? Because so sometimes taking a supplement, this is really important to know. A lot of times taking a supplement doesn't do what you want it to do as if you got it from food. So like, I think it's like vitamin K can come from like kale. Well, if you take like vitamin D and vitamin K in a supplement and vitamin D comes from the sun, it's more impactful to do those things naturally as much as possible. However, I think that a mixture of the two, which then there's not a lot of great research on that, I think would make a lot of sense as well. So like I could take a bunch of vitamin D and I can go and get a test done and my vitamin D levels will be high because I've been supplementing a lot of vitamin D, but it's not the same in your system. Like the human body is a real bastard and it's really smart. It's really hard to trick it. Mm-hmm. And so even though I'll record a high vitamin D level, I didn't go on that journey myself to get the vitamin D from the sun the way I needed to. And I don't think they currently know what the major difference is there because it's like it does show up in your blood. Mm-hmm. Anyway, the point is any opportunity you have to get any of this stuff through food, you want to always try to take that opportunity first and just realize the supplements are the supplements. But yeah, I think the electrolytes have been probably the biggest change. And I look at supplements way differently. I've taken, everything you can think of pretty much over the years. Creatine, back when it was first created, and then they started throwing creatine in with sugar, like carbohydrates, mm-hmm. for like intra-workout, post-workout, or maybe even, intra-workout type stuff. Celtech made that product. And then...
that dear Celtech.
Yeah, right? And then there was, let's see, EAS had creatine. Mm. Bill Phillips was one of the first. We're going to have Michael Zampano on the show coming up, and he is actually the first person to ever have creatine in any product. And he'll be on the show pretty soon, I think sometime in January. So that'll be really cool to hear his story. But yeah, I've tried all these different things. There was something called Phosphagen, which was like a protein powder that had creatine in it. It was like a meal replacement type of thing. Yeah. And then shit got weird. They just started making all these kind of weird things. They made phosphagems. Phosphagems were like candy that were creatine coated with like, the like vitamin D and some of the gummies that you can get, right? That taste amazing. And you eat you don't know anything about it. You eat the whole entire thing.
It's like saying that because
it's like charcuterie.
It's the charcuterie of vitamins.
Yo.
But yeah, I've tried so many. I've played around with all these different things, and over the years, you just learn like, okay, well, that doesn't seem to really do much for me. I'm going to stop wasting my money.
Yeah.
But there are staples that have been around forever, like fish oil. I haven't taken fish oil consistently forever, but I seem to always, buy it again at some point and bring it back into the diet. Amino acids have been a huge part. I take essential amino acids. I used to take branched chain amino acids. Essential amino acids just have more of a few different amino acids other than just the 3 or 4 that are from branched chain amino acids.
And that's like essential amino acids. Do you like, if someone wants to go look that up, do they just type in essential amino acids on Amazon and just get a complex supplement?
Absolutely. Yeah. It's just EAAs, you know, essential amino acids. And you can, Tony Huge sells them. That's the product that I use. I think it's called Anabolic IV. Advanced Athlete.
Enhanced.
Oh, enhanced. Enhanced Athlete. Yeah. There you go.
Oh, Tony.
It doesn't come with any ladyboys or anything like that.
Oh, we went there.
Not yet. Well, maybe if you buy it in Thailand, it comes with a side of ladyboy. Can you finish it?
But some of these things that have kind of stood the test of time with me are just things that I think are valuable to my workouts. But again, like, do I really think they do anything? Like nothing drastic. Like if I had the essential amino acids in my plan for a while, and then I just dropped it, you wouldn't be like, man, like your shoulders are disappearing, bro, or look what's going on with your arms looking all flabby and scrawny. I mean, so you know, they make me feel better about what I'm doing.
Exactly.
You know, and it's an investment. You put that money in there, you invest in it, and you're like, this is what I'm doing.
That's generally what they do. You know, like you were mentioning something really cool about vitamin D. And by the way, guys, I know we're hopping all over the place, but vitamin D is super useful to take. It's really good for your overall health. But this is the thing, like when you think of getting into the sun and getting your vitamin D from the sun, like, yeah, you get vitamin D, but it also has the effects of, you know, after you wake up in the morning, you get some sun, your melatonin naturally starts going down. And it affects your circadian rhythm, right? Which is your sleep and waking cycles. If you're sitting in all day and you don't get that sun, not getting that sun is going to have an effect on your sleep and your quality sleep, which helps your recovery in terms of working out, right? So you could be supplementing all this vitamin D, but if you're not going outside, your sleep is still going to be messed up, which means your recovery isn't going to be ideal, which means you're not going to be, whether you're trying to lose fat or gain muscle over time, that is going to be drastically affected. Also, what's going to be affected, your hunger levels, all of that, just because partially you didn't go out and maybe get some sun, even though you have these high vitamin D levels, right? So that's like a great example of how you could be supplementing something so much, but if you're not doing the thing that allows you to get it from nature, being vitamin D or going out into the sun, it doesn't do the same thing.
I think they believe that people of color need more vitamin D because your skin is already kind of like,
it makes it harder to absorb vitamin D.
Right.
The pigment, like the melanin in the skin makes vitamin D absorption harder, which is why when people talk about, when like you see the upticks of coronavirus in certain areas in terms of people of color, it's partially because being locked down doesn't allow you to get a lot of sun. You're not even supplementing vitamin D at that point, which messes with your immunity, which increases your chances of contracting that. Like it's a nasty effect. But going back to what you were saying there, like that's why it is super useful to try to get these things also from food, but supplementing them too. I think one thing that, you know, you mentioned electrolytes. And electrolytes is one of those supplements that I think a lot of people don't take them because they're not like a pre-workout. That's why pre-workout's so effective, man.
I got to stop you just for a second. I like what you said right there. You have to understand almost every single supplement that you take. I can't even think of any. Well, I just knocked one over, I guess. Almost all supplements you'll never feel. Right? Like unless it has like a tingly thing or whatever, like that makes your skin red or whatever before you work. There are some things like that do that, right? And there's caffeine and there's things that can get you like, you know, wired and fired up.
Alanine that makes you itch.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you'll feel that. Kratom is another one. You'll like feel it, but you're not going to really feel vitamin C. Yeah, there's no feel to creatine. You may over time when you take creatine, you might feel a pump when you work out. But you're not going to really be like, I took my creatine, like, and you're not going to really feel anything. So that's important to know.
Yeah. And that's the big thing. It's like, I think that a lot of these supplements that end up actually being the most useful for your performance over time are the supplements that I always find people say, yeah, I'm not taking that anymore. Or I forgot to take it because you don't necessarily feel your skin itch, or you don't like after I drink this coffee, I'm so uncomfortably wired. You don't feel that. So you don't think it's doing much. You don't take it over time. But like electrolytes, the main thing that I felt when I started taking them, and I didn't notice this as much when I was only lifting, but when I started taking electrolytes along with doing jujitsu, which is a high cardiovascularly intensive workout, and you sweat a lot. I sweat a fuck ton. My gi is drenched. But often I would get cramps, or my calf would cramp a little bit, or I'd start to, my endurance wouldn't be as good. When I started taking electrolytes, I don't cramp at all. Like literally, I don't cramp at all. The main reason I was cramping before was partial dehydration, but I also wasn't getting enough potassium in prior to working out, right? Sodium also helps with hydration massively. And I felt that effect immediately where I was like, fuck, this actually is a literal performance enhancing supplement. Like caffeine is super useful for performance, but like electrolytes are extremely useful in that realm too. But the thing is like, again, you don't feel it necessarily. You only feel the things that don't happen. So I noticed I don't cramp, but why am I like that? That is pretty huge, especially if you're lifting in the gym. You'll be able to get out more reps, more sets, etc., before fatiguing because of that. So that's why, like nowadays, that is one of my staple supplements. I think another thing that also lies within that realm of actually being really performance enhancing, but being boring, is creatine. And I know, like you said, you don't. I don't know. You didn't say you don't take it much or anything, but you don't. I
just said you might not feel it.
Yeah, exactly. You won't feel it. But creatine it's one of the most researched supplements on the market. Right. And I think it's something that every single athlete that does training in the gym should take, because it really does, especially if you're an athlete in the gym, it really does increase your performance. You'll be able to get out more reps, etc., because you're more hydrated too. But it's not one of those, it's not sexy. You don't feel it. So that's why, like, I always hear lifters be like, oh yeah, I forgot my creatine, or I haven't taken that in a few months, just because it's like not one of those things that you immediately feel. Right. But it's super effective. I forget to take my creatine sometimes, but I know the effect that does have on my performance. So, and it's cheap too. It's not like whey protein is kind of expensive.
Yeah, it can be. Yeah.
But creatine, you can get like a barrel of that stuff that'll last you 2 months for $30 on Amazon. I think that might also be a reason. I think that's also a reason why people forget about it. It's cheap.
Right. When
you don't put in $70 into a bottle of something, you'll forget to take it.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just sitting there. I think what you brought up about the cramping is really important, because like you're already a high level athlete. You've done bodybuilding, you've done powerlifting, and then you more recently over the last 4 or 5 years have taken up jujitsu. You already eat very healthy, especially over the last 2 years, even aside from just the flat out bodybuilding stuff. I think when you're powerlifting, you had more wiggle room with your food.
Yeah.
But
to say the least.
all your like boxes are checked, and for you to have cramps, it just goes to show you that sometimes you kind of quote unquote like need a supplement.
Yeah.
You definitely don't lack the ability to eat. I've seen you eat before. You can pound some food. And so like, here's a guy who's doing all the right stuff and still ending up with cramps here and there. And then you take a supplement and it kind of pulls you out of that. I think that's huge. And I know a lot of people that suffer from, when they get on kind of a ketogenic style diet or lower carb, or they start implementing intermittent fasting, they run into cramping. They run into feeling like lightheaded. These are all things that can be solved by just simply taking in some electrolytes. And we have our product that sponsors the podcast, Element. Shout out to them. They make a great product. It tastes good. It provides you with the vitamin or the minerals that you need to be able to still kick ass in your workout. And you'll be shocked. I think a lot of people, they take them for granted, and the same thing could be true with creatine, where it's just like, oh, that's an old supplement. It's not fancy or sexy anymore. So no one's talking about it. So, why bother? But I think, creatine can kind of help get some volume, get some water kind of like into the muscles and help kind of pump you up. And some of the research suggests that it can help you contract a little bit harder so you can potentially be a little stronger. I think there's actually more information now about creatine being like a nootropic as well. So there's a lot of great information about creatine. Just again, don't just take our word for it. I think it's a good idea for you guys to research some of this stuff, look some of this stuff up that you hear from us today.
Yeah, and be wary of like some of the marketing tactics. So like if it's creatine, this is the creatine you feel, because they will put the beta alanine or whatever that makes your skin feel like it's on fire, which I really don't like that feeling.
Me neither. I never did.
I don't get it. Like some people say it's kind of just like that trigger that you said. It's like, oh, now it's go time, like that tingly, like, I don't know. Yeah, I don't dig it. But yeah, I've heard of people say like, oh, this didn't work for me. I didn't feel anything, but this one did. And it's like, well, yeah, it's full of, like 200 milligrams of caffeine. Of course you're going to feel that one. Yeah. But yeah, I love everything about this conversation because, dude, like supplements are so much fun. What you were talking about, like, oh, I would have casein at night.
Key word right there. Fun. Yeah. They're kind of fun. Fun to get into them.
Because you're kind of like, if you're building a car, like I want to see what happens if I put a, intake and exhaust on it. It's like, okay, it sounds cool, but it's maybe not that much faster. Let me see if I do this to it. And you start adding things. That's kind of how I feel like with supplements. You can kind of not manipulate, but like you said with the casein, good time it. Okay, I'm going to have this before I go to bed. And then when I wake up, I'm going to have electrolytes, see how that feels. Okay, dude, I feel awesome. I'm going to try that again. I'm going to try that pre-workout now. And it's like, okay, that pre-workout was a little bit too rough, but if I try this, it's just a lot of fun. And like you guys said, you invest a little bit of money into something and you're investing in yourself, and you'll take it that much more serious.
It's just like, when you let's say you start powerlifting or you get into bodybuilding or whatever. Bodybuilders have these shoes that I never really understood, by the way. But if you're a bodybuilder, there's these flat shoes and
shoes.
They're these height shoes.
Atomics or whatever?
Yeah.
I thought you said issues, and I'm like, yeah,
bodybuilders have issues. Sorry.
Weird shoes.
Weird shoes.
Yeah, Atomics, I think they are.
But like when you're a bodybuilder, that get yourself a pair of Atomics.
I'm about to get some Atomics.
You're a fucking bodybuilder. When you're tying your Atomics up, you're getting ready to go into the gym, you're like, yeah.
Right.
I feel like high green.
Yeah. Like I need this shit.
Exactly. And that's what I feel like supplements are like to an extent. But like I said, electrolytes, actually effective. Creatine monohydrate, actually effective. Protein, whey protein.
Oh, these shoes.
Actually,
There they are, yeah.
Honestly, I never, those
get
things.
That and get like a boat neck shirt and you're good to go, right? Fanny pack.
Fanny pack, some baggy
pants.
Oh, God. And Atomics. I'm sorry. Like,
man,
I never liked the way those look.
I've been trying to figure out where I could find these shoes for the past year.
They automatically make you a bodybuilder.
They really do. They really do.
Dude, these are sick.
Oh, God. Yeah.
We gotta get Tom a pair now that he competed in his first show.
Can you wear these?
Honestly,
just anywhere,
is that a
though?
pump? Is that a pump on it?
No way.
No.
I think it's just
a big tongue.
Yeah. Yeah, it's got just like a nice little like patch on there.
I love how they call those things tongues.
Right? Weird, right?
It is weird.
Very odd. But
Ooh.
Yeah.
Come on, website.
Yeah. So I think what we're for me personally, over the years, how the way I look at supplements has changed is like they helped me in the beginning to stay harder with like everything that I was doing in terms of lifting. But now when I look at supplements, I look at them in the way that like even if I didn't have these or I wasn't taking these, I'd still be working out I'd still be doing jujitsu or lifting every single day, like no matter what, because that habit's ingrained. I don't need those things. I think that one thing that people should get out of this conversation is that no matter what you're trying to do, understand that you can do them without. Like everything, like you mentioned, is within you. Mm-hmm. All of those goals are within you. You can do all those things without them. Because what happens is some people, when they don't have their supplements, they then lose their vitality and their willingness to want to go to the gym or to want to work out or to want to work out hard because I didn't take my pre-workout today or I'm out of it or all this type of stuff. And it takes them out of that. Whereas that shit doesn't really matter. It's all the work you're about to do. That's what's going to have the big effect. And that's what you got to fall in love with.
Yeah. What about supplements that actually don't do shit?
There's a big old long ass list of that.
Well, I would say that a lot of so you mentioned marketing, you know, and something that was that I learned over the years is usually the more something is marketed to you, usually the worse off the product is. Like the worse off it is for you, type of thing, like McDonald's. And it's not always the case, but a lot of times it is the case. Is the things that are marketed to you a lot. So when you start to see these supplements that are marketed to you real heavily for like bodybuilding, fat burners and stuff like that. I'm not going to say that they do zero, but the only reason why they really work is what Nsima already mentioned, is that you take the fat burner in the morning and then you go do fasted cardio. You have this cascade of disciplines that are surrounding you spending $40 on this fat burner or whatever it is. And those are the things that are getting you in shape. And yes, it might suppress the appetite a little bit. It might have a couple things in there that give you a little bit of assistance, but the supplements are just to kind of like just give you a little bump, just push you along. We mentioned the electrolytes. I think are a great example, even though those electrolytes are just like extremely powerful and effective. It kind of just fits in like a missing piece of the puzzle that sometimes you otherwise, you might have a piece of the puzzle, but it doesn't fit in there exactly the way that it should. You just jam them in there to kind of get it over with.
It's like, what? It fits.
Yeah, we're good, right? And you need all the pieces of the puzzle to be together if you want to have the highest and best performance possible, right? And so for us, that's kind of what we're talking about. It's like, how do we really push forward the best? But you're not going to get that only from a supplement. You have to have so many other pieces of the puzzle. This is just going to be one small piece that might assist you a little bit.
Yeah. And then probably if something's saying like get the same amount of shredded in like half the time, like that's kind of like the marketing thing you're talking about, right, Mark? Like if they're just like way over the top.
Yeah, shredded or getting big. I remember seeing ads where it would say like a product would help you like get stronger by like 400%. I think even Onnit, which I'm a huge fan of Onnit. I have a lot of respect for that company and I have friends in that company and stuff. But they had like, maybe it was like the Shroom Tech or whatever, just some crazy percentage associated with what it was going to do for you. And I'm like, man, like who did that study? Like the only people that did that study was obviously them, and no one else has ever reported they increased their strength on something by 300% from taking a supplement. I mean, you don't even get that from steroids.
Yeah. It's very easy to fall into that trap. It's because I fell into those traps when I was younger too. Like those marketing traps, you really start to believe that. Now, the one thing that I was going to say, the one thing that's super important is creatine monohydrate. Like when you're in a supplement shop, sometimes that they try to tell you like, oh, you need to take this creatine nitrate or something, or whatever, creatine, etc. I don't know, like other forms of creatine. But really the only creatine that you need to take is creatine monohydrate powder. Like literally, you don't need any other additives. If you get a creatine and something else is on the bottle, you need to make sure that it says purely just creatine monohydrate.
And Nsima's going through all his poses.
But like seriously, you could get on Amazon super cheap. Creatine monohydrate powder, nothing else in it.
Have you ever done a video on posing?
Have I done a video on posing? Like instructional? No, with people I work with.
Right.
We're
gonna do one.
Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna do one.
Cool. Sick. I know all the mandatories are very easy.
Yeah, you're just going right through it. Going right through it in his sleep.
Yeah, well, really in-depth explanation of monohydrate or creatine monohydrate. And then as far as like we've been hearing BCAAs don't do anything, like, oh, they're nothing. But what if that helps you drink a gallon of water a day or whatever? Yeah. Like, does it work then? Like, it seems like it would make sense to me. Okay,
so this is the thing, man. BCAAs don't do nothing. They do stuff.
Something.
They're useful.
Flavored water.
No. Like branched chains do have a beneficial effect for people trying to gain muscle. They do. But I don't take them just because I find that effect is so minimal and I'm already eating and I'm getting enough food and my nutrition is good enough. It doesn't have the effect that I'm looking for. So it's not like these do nothing. It's just they don't do as much as people say they do.
Well, you eat a lot of protein.
Yeah.
And you eat a lot of variations of protein.
Yeah.
You eat, I believe you eat like meat and dairy and vegetables and a bunch of, I mean, you're getting protein from every which way. So like if you didn't get, so if you were going to do a bodybuilding show and you were start to really reduce your calories and really reduce the overall amount of food, you might be like, hey, it would probably be smart for me to get some branched chains because I had to lower my calories and like, I don't know what's going on. Like I'm fairly quote unquote like catabolic and maybe this will assist.
Yeah.
It's worth it just to see like if it's going to, have much of a positive impact, but it's so hard to know if any of this stuff is working.
Yeah.
And even research and studies and tests and stuff that they do, it's just so hard to, how does that apply to you? You know, when they test, college kids who eat like shit, because these are the people that do these tests a lot of times because they can make money on it.
Yeah.
How does that apply to you, in your life? I mean, maybe you eat way worse than them, or maybe you eat way better than them. Maybe you have 7 kids and you have a 9 to 5. I mean, it's like, there's so many other factors that come up. And I agree. Like I've been taking amino acids for, Charles Poliquin talked about branched chain amino acids probably in like maybe like the late 90s or early 2000s. Yeah, early 2000s. And they were on the map for me. I was like, all right, well, I'm going to take them. And back then they didn't have powdered form. So I was just taking capsules and I would take it like during my workout and I would drink water with it. It was just horrible. Yeah. It was not my smartest move, but it's supposed to help with, protein synthesis and it's supposed to help you to recover from your workout a little bit. So I just have pretty much always kept them in. I don't think I've taken them straight through since that time, but anytime I have an opportunity to grab some, I pick some up and I utilize it. And I don't, one thing I will say is that I know that they work for me in this sense is that it is drinking water during a workout. It does have electrolytes in it. Most of the brands do. And the anabolic IV, like I mentioned earlier, that has electrolytes in it. That's going to that feels like, I don't know if it's the essential amino acids or if it's the drinking of water. I don't know what it is, but I literally feel like I'm getting a little extra push and I feel it could be a placebo effect. But it doesn't really matter what the effect is. There's an effect, and it helps me to push through that second half of the workout when you're kind of just like, I'd rather go home, eat some food.
Yeah, man. You mentioned something there though. Like we've mentioned this a few times throughout this episode, but the feeling you get, right? Fat burners. I think most fat burners they're really not that beneficial. They don't really do much of anything. Eat less food and be in a caloric deficit, do that over a long period of time and, make the right food choices. You're going to lose body fat. You don't need fat burners for that. But what is the ingredient, guys, that they put in most fat burners that makes you feel like it's working?
Is it that yo ham bean or yo something? Or is that just another
Sometimes
one?
that's in there.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's in there.
There's usually caffeine in there.
It's usually caffeine. You feel caffeine. And when you feel that caffeine maybe 15 minutes after you take your fat burner, you're going to feel like the fat burning is going on.
And you're hungry, right? You have caffeine in your system and you're hungry. You're like, fuck yeah, I'm burning tons of fat right now.
Yeah. So
I can feel it.
I think, here we go. Another supplement that I think we talked about, we haven't mentioned. Caffeine is super beneficial.
Yeah.
Like caffeine actually does.
Tons of research on it.
Caffeine actually does have a real effect on fat loss over time, not an effect that can outmaneuver a bad diet. You can't take caffeine, be eating like shit and still expect to burn fat. But if you take caffeine along with, doing the things you need to do in terms of your diet, training, and sleep, over time, that it can aid you because number one, caffeine is an appetite suppressant. So if it helps you eat a little bit less food and have less cravings for bad food, what's that going to do? Over time, you're going to burn more fat. It's an appetite suppressant. It actually, like, you feel like you can do more. It actually increases, it increases your ability to do more and have more energy in a segmented amount of time. So if you have a little bit of caffeine before you go have a workout and you have a little bit more energy, maybe you'll do more and train harder in that session and multiple sessions, which helps fat loss over time, right? So do I have something in my left nostril, man? I feel really red there.
Go for it.
Okay, good.
For myself, I think, some supplements that I feel like they have been beneficial. We talked about whey protein earlier. I take collagen, although I don't know, I haven't noticed a difference in anything, but I do think it has helped me a little bit with like digestion and things like that. But
Really?
that's just some speculation of mine, I guess.
Okay.
And some other things I've taken that I like. We mentioned vitamin D earlier.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, whey protein, collagen, vitamin D, and then if I was to have a top 5 and had 2 more in there, I guess I would say I take magnesium, and I take zinc, and then I guess there would be one more, vitamin B. I take a vitamin B complex.
Okay.
And if you're looking for a good brand, like there's a lot of good brands out there, and you can spend all kinds of crazy money and get some from some really like high end supplement companies, and they're most of the ones that are like high end are they're more like vitamin and mineral based than they are like supplement based, even though these are supplements because they're things that you're taking to supplement your diet. These are things that could be found in food. But a company I like a lot it's called Jarrow, Jarrow. They've been around forever.
Oh wow. Okay.
I don't think they do any marketing or anything. They've been around for 10,000 years or whatever, and they make they've just been known for quality products. And so I usually use stuff from them. But also too, I forgot to mention that my vitamin D, it has vitamin K in it as well. So I take the combo because they're supposed to absorb better. Vitamin D is fat soluble, so you're supposed to take it. It helps I guess it's supposed to help the absorption if you take it with a fatty meal. I don't know how much of a difference that makes, but vitamin A, D, E, and K are all kind of fat soluble, and sometimes some people even say that taking all of them together makes it more effective.
Yeah. No, like taking vitamin K2. Vitamin K2 helps with your vitamin D absorption. So it's super beneficial to take that with.
And I think with calcium absorption even.
Yep. So yeah, that's super beneficial to take. In terms of my top supplements, right, that I currently take, protein, electrolytes, creatine monohydrate. I think the biggest ones in terms of my performance are the electrolytes and creatine monohydrate. I take vitamin D and K2. I'm putting that as like one supplement on its own. I take another supplement, calcium, magnesium, zinc, but I just take that because I'm in the habit of taking it, not because I feel anything. I have some fish oil that I take along with that. And I think those are the things that I take. Right. But yeah. So, in essence, I think the biggest things in terms of performance there, like I said, are the electrolytes and the creatine, and that's it.
If you're disgusted by fish oil, because fish oil, even when you take it in like capsule form, can make you burp, and then there's like cod liver oil and some other weird oils, and they're all kind of gross. They try to mask them with like lemon flavor and stuff. Option number one is if you have capsules, you could put them in the freezer, and for me, that has helped. Get rid of like the fish burps or whatever. Some people say it has to do with the quality. I don't know. I don't know I'm not sure if the quality or the price tag makes any difference on whether you're going to burp them up or not. But there's a company, and I forget, it might be like Barleans or something it's called. They make like a sounds going to sound disgusting, but they make like a smoothie type of thing. And they have like an orange creamsicle flavored one. Fucking tastes awesome. You don't notice there's no fish flavor in there whatsoever. So people that are like, like that shit's gross, that might be a good option for you. You could just probably you could probably Google it or look it up on Amazon.
Yeah, I would say the only supplement that I take on a regular basis that you guys haven't already mentioned is boron, or that's how you pronounce it.
Oh yeah,
yeah. And I actually only take it because Mark said somebody told him to take it. And so
yeah, it can increase your testosterone.
Yeah.
Does it really do that in a substantial amount?
It's not in like some sort of huge way, but it's supposedly increases your free testosterone, and it's really, really cheap.
Yeah, it's super cheap. I got like a 2-pack from Amazon, and it's gonna last me like forever.
Wow. Yeah, I think you only need to take like 5-10 milligrams a day or something.
Yeah, because the majority of it comes from like if you have a healthy diet where you eat a lot of steak, you're gonna get a lot of it from like your diet. But if you can add a little bit more to get up to like where Mark said, like 10 to 12 milligrams a day, like it's super easy with one tiny little capsule. And so, I've been taking it for, I don't know, a couple months now.
Okay.
It's definitely going to be one of those things where you don't feel right off the bat, but
a pretty good, an interesting supplement is glycine. That's, I guess, mainly what's in collagen. And if you get glycine, like if you can buy a lot of these things in like bulk and stuff like that. And I got glycine off of Amazon, and it's really weird because it actually tastes like a sweetener. And I mean, it's not as good as like monk fruit or whatever, but like you can put it into shakes, you can put it into all kinds of stuff. It's just an amino acid. It's supposed to help with sleep a little bit as well. So that might be another one that you might want to try out, and you could, mix it into like iced tea and stuff like that, and it gives it a little bit of flavor. Yeah.
Yeah, since we're going to get into the sleep a little bit, I think that one thing that you may want to try, if you're someone who has trouble trying to fall asleep at night, and the reason why I'm mentioning this is because sleep is like, if you're not getting good sleep, you are, I think what does Stan Efferding say? I think it's like stepping over $100 bills in search for pennies.
Right.
If you're not getting good sleep, especially as a performance athlete, you're not going to make nearly the gains you could get as if you were getting quality sleep. I think one of the biggest supplements that is great for that is Valerian Root. I use that every now and then. If it's a night that I'm like, I really need to try to get some deep sleep tonight, or I'm having trouble falling asleep, Valerian Root, it's not something that you're going to end up building a dependence on. It won't have effect on your hormones like melatonin would. It's totally natural, and it'll help you fall asleep well. I don't take it every single night. I don't even take it every single week, but the times that I have found it hard to fall asleep, take Valerian Root, 25 minutes later, I'm knocked out.
Helps you relax maybe a little bit.
Helps you relax a little bit. Yeah. It's really beneficial. It's also one of those supplements it's talked about in multiple sleep books, Why We Sleep by Matthew Walker. And then the one that, what's that guy that you did the podcast? His name's Sean, not Sean. He's the black guy.
Oh yeah.
Sean the Model.
Sean Model. Yeah, Sean Model. He talked about that in his sleep book too. And it's actually a very useful sleep supplement. I would be careful. If you're someone who depends on melatonin for sleep, backtrack, because that can mess up your actual production of melatonin. Right. And you don't want that to happen. That's tough. It's tough to get back.
And
from
didn't we have somebody on that said that could actually help, or it could potentially suppress even your like testosterone or something like that? I don't remember how dangerous it would have been, but
that sounds scary.
Yeah, as soon as they said that, I'm sorry, I can't remember who it was, but I'm like, no, I'm not messing with that again.
I just want to point out, I've never taken a supplement that has really had a major impact. I've never. They've had a nice impact. Many of them have helped or assisted over a period of time. But there's nothing I can think of that is not like a SARM or a steroid or whatever that I've taken where I've been like, I gotta go and tell everybody about this. Otherwise you'd hear me talking about it here on the show all the time, that like these things are 100% necessary. Like hey, I know you've been struggling gaining muscle. You got to take this product because it's going to, it's going to add 5-10 pounds. I have never experienced anything. And, being someone who has used PEDs and does use PEDs, I know the difference. Like I can, you can feel it, you can see it when you take PEDs, or you simply just even add in more or take something new. You can like not immediately, but within a few weeks, you can see how it's working. It shows up on the weights that you move in the gym. It shows up on the scale. It shows up in the mirror. I can't think of a supplement that I've ever taken where I'm like, hey, this one has done this. So just know when you see that marketing that Andrew was talking about earlier, hey, this is going to put 10 pounds on you, or this is going to help you shred 10 pounds of body fat in 6 weeks. It's fake. Like there's no truth to it. There's currently nothing on the market that does any of that stuff. So it's just, you don't want to be a sucker, be on the lookout for that kind of stuff. And just recognize that what we're talking about and what we always promote here on the show is we would love to see you have a comprehensive plan that you do over a long period of time. So if any of these supplements assist in that, let's say that you take vitamin C and you just feel like, that it helps you not get sick. Well, that has a huge impact on your training. That's a huge impact on the way that you look and being able to augment your body. So these are things that we would like to see you do for a period of time, whatever the things are that you choose. Give them a good shot and put the discipline in. The work is really going to be the major factor. There's not I'm sorry if this is disappointing people, but there's not a supplement that's really going to push you that extra bit that you're really looking for. They can assist a little bit and give you a little bit of a kick, but nothing much. Lastly, I'll say that vitamin D, I think for me personally, being somebody that I wouldn't get sick a lot, but I would get sick like twice a year, almost without fail. Mm-hmm. And I would say that I get sick maybe every like 2 or 3 years now, it seems like. And it could just be I'm older, like my immune system's strong. I don't know. Could be a combination of things, but vitamin D was implemented about 5 years ago for me, and I think it's made a big difference. That's just my own opinion of it.
I'll agree to that. Like, the last time I got sick was the flu, or it could have actually been coronavirus.
Oh my God.
November of last year. Yeah, but since then I haven't been sick, and
all the way to now.
And before that, I haven't been sick. So
yeah. In regards to what you were talking about, Mark, because we did kind of tease a little bit with like saying which supplements which supplements work legal or not. Even if you take something, here we go. Nailed it.
Oh, that's fucked up.
That was a rim job.
It was. It was. But right, even if you take all of the trend, but if you don't work your ass off, not going to do much.
Right. Yeah, you got to put that work in.
Yeah, that's just what everyone points to, right? Is like, I was going to say a bad joke about Nsima, but I'm not going to do that.
Say the joke, Andrew.
No, I'm not going to.
Say the joke.
No, I don't want to.
Okay.
No, Nsima stays in great shape because he's always on something.
I'm cruising.
Yeah, there
on
you
life.
go. Cruising. Yep.
I'm cruising on life.
Yeah, but ignoring the jiu-jitsu, the lifting, and
he's
all that good
not
stuff.
on anything other than 500 milligrams of test.
That's a super low
2
dose.
2 IUs of growth hormone.
Slow dose, man.
Doctor
That's not
recommended.
really
low dose.
Dr. Tony Hughes recommended.
What's it really doing for him anyway?
Nothing.
I love when you guys did the photo shoot, and I asked people, I was like, how did it go? And they're like,
fucking Nsima.
Well, yeah, they're like, Nsima looked amazing. I'm like, Nsima's a fucking bodybuilder. He's a professional body. I'm like, the fucking guy stepped on stage a lot of times. He's fucking jacked.
Yeah.
But they were like, Nsima was jacked. I'm like, I'm aware of this. He fucking looks phenomenal. I tell him every day.
Yeah.
Looks great.
Meanwhile, we were all like, oh, let's get in shape for this shoot. And then it's like, oh, Nsima, this shoot's happening. I'll jump in, not prepared, but just because you are always working, you ended up destroying everyone. Even though it wasn't a competition, but you know what I mean?
Not very nice of you.
We have a great episode coming up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I can't wait for that.
Yeah, go ahead and tease that a little bit.
Do you want to give a preview? So I think one thing that's really dope online, I think it's kind of the funniest thing, on these channels that always do these natty or not videos, one of their things that is like one of the telltale signs that somebody's on drugs is if they're lean year round. Like that's something people say. And back in the day, I used to kind of be like, oh, it's so hard to stay lean year round. But then when I started doing it, I was just like, what's allowing this? And okay, now that's bullshit. Like being lean year round isn't a telltale sign, but I think that's something we can really kind of dig into, because when people see that online, they think someone's on stuff. Also, some people just take a lot of photos and post photos in December from, a middle of the year.
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, other than that, no. I think we can dig into that, and I think that'd be interesting to talk about. Another stupid thing that we might not even talk about in that episode, though, is delts. People say that somebody with ran delts is on drugs.
Capped delts or whatever. Capped shoulders.
I've always thought that was kind of stupid, too. But
I don't know. That might be it.
Whatever.
I might be one of those people. But yeah, I'll post pictures from last year.
Yeah.
When I was on stuff. So yeah.
But yeah, that'll be
coming up soon.
We'll tell you guys about when we're going to do it, and you guys need to tune in for that because I think it's going to be a good one.
Mm-hmm.
I think again the key is to you have to like build muscle. You know, if you build muscle, at some point it will be fairly easy to stay in whatever shape that you would like to stay in.
Mm-hmm.
If you weigh 150 and you have a little bit of a belly and you're always worried about that belly, I think your best bet is to work on getting bigger, not necessarily like bulk, not being some like, not eat pizza and like power lift or anything. That's only going to make you fatter. And I don't think getting fatter is a great answer to building muscle. You do need maybe a little extra calories, but how much extra? Like when somebody's looking to get a little bit bigger, they're not telling you, hey man, I want to weigh 290.
Yeah.
When somebody says, hey man, I want to get a little bit bigger, where do you start them at from a calorie perspective? How many extra calories?
It's usually like 200, 300, 200 over maintenance.
Yeah, right.
Depending on where their maintenance is. If their maintenance is like 1,800 calories, maybe it's 1,950. If their maintenance is like 2,500 calories, maybe it's 300 calories above that. But yeah, it's not much more than that, because when you start doing too high, you're going to start gaining a little bit too much too fast. And sometimes that's more body fat too fast.
Right. And so the focus I always think should be on building that muscle mass. And then some of the stuff we mentioned here today can potentially assist you with some of that. But again, we also said that you don't need it. If you can stick with the food and you can nail down your food every day and you're comfortable with that and you don't care about supplements, that's fine. Then you don't have to worry about the whey protein shakes and all these different things. You can save a lot of money, save a lot of dough.
Mm-hmm.
But for us, we personally like supplements. It kind of adds another level to this boring hobby of ours of going to the gym and lifting weights. Does it help you recover, or it's just hard to say. I mean, people even say with PEDs, they say like how much they help you with recovery, but even on PEDs, they still get sore as fuck. So like, I don't know how much more I don't know what the research says on stuff like that, but my body's still always sore, from good workouts.
Yeah. And what's impossible to ever really understand what that feeling is you can't have somebody take or not take them, feel how sore they are, then take them and then feel how sore they're like, it just, it'll never equate to like an actual like answer for that. But that still brings up people who don't take anything. It's like, oh, well, you're not as sore because you're on stuff. There's always going to be that person that's going to say you can do X, Y, and Z because you're on something. Well,
the thing is, like, real talk, like there are certain drugs that, like, yeah, you're still going to be sore, but those people are able to work out longer. I mean, they can.
Yeah, push harder.
They can push harder. They can handle more volume,
more weight
over time. So absolutely they do. Like, absolutely they do. But at the same time, it's like the amount of work an individual puts in, whether they're on or whether they're not, it's like you still have to put in a lot of fucking work.
It's the supplements aren't keeping them at the gym longer. They're still deciding.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's tough.
Anything else?
That's all I got over here. Shout out to everybody on the live stream.
Supplement wise? I think we personally
no.
I think we talked about all of them.
I'm trying to think.
Yeah.
Looking through some comments. Placebo effect, blah, blah, blah. No, yeah. I
will say that we didn't really talk about it. It's like not something you had to take, but Mind Bullet, Kratom, I'm going to run to jiu-jitsu after this.
Yeah.
I get before, doing anything like that, I get very creative. It helps me kind of just like tune things out. So before like a martial art like that, I do things that I really don't typically do, because just, I guess, the creative side of my mind might be doing something. It's weird. This is one of those supplements that, again, I can kind of say like, yeah, a lot of this stuff, okay, but this is something your mind literally feels different.
It's almost like a mind shift. Like it like shifts your mind from whatever it was you were before. And I don't know. to me, it feels it because it makes you feel good, or because it makes, I'll just speak from my own personal experience, because it makes me feel good, it makes me motivated. And hopefully people that try it find the same result. You can go to mindbullet.com and check it out.
Yeah. And I'll add to that, because you feel good and you feel motivated, I find that I will go like the extra step on something. So like we have this Power Bite that's coming out tomorrow from our Blake McKernan episode. I exported it a bunch of times, one because I made like a mistake, and then another one because like, that doesn't look as exactly how I wanted it. But then I kept doing it more and more, and I kept adding more to it because the Mind Bullet kept kicking in. And then now it's like this, I think it's going to be a pretty cool boxing motivation video. Like I added music to it, added B-roll. Sick. And it started out a very simple like Q&A quick video. And it's like, I just kept adding more and more. And then at the end, I'm like, yeah, this is a really good video. And it's, I mean, I'm not going to say give it all the credit to Mind Bullet, but man, it just, it makes you feel good. It makes you want to, like, you know, like I said, add a little bit more to your work. Yeah. But yeah, that's all I got.
Take us on out of here, Andrew.
I will. Thank you again, everybody, for checking out today's episode. Everyone on the live stream, you guys are freaking awesome. While you guys are here, make sure you guys check out the description of this video, or if you're on iTunes, check out the show notes, and check the link for the new Power Project newsletter. We got some really cool stuff coming out. We just shot some stuff with Mark the other day. That's going to be an exclusive video that you can only gain access to via the newsletter. So that's something really cool that I'm excited for, and I think you guys are going to dig it. So again, check the show notes and the description in the video. Please make sure you're following the podcast at Mark Bell's Power Project on Instagram, at MB Power Project on Twitter. My Instagram is at IamAndrewZ, or my Twitter is at IamAndrewZ. Also, I've been going off about video games like crazy on there. So yeah, follow me there. Nsima.
Nsima Inyang on Instagram and YouTube, at Nsima Inyang on Twitter. Mark?
You guys want to do a show on Wednesday? Live?
Oh shit.
Let's do it.
We can say the time right now, maybe?
Let's see. I know
we have that photo shoot
and then,
on that day.
And then we have the Super Friends series, I believe, at 9. So it would have to be an afternoon one.
Yeah. What about when you get done with jiu-jitsu?
Be here by 1:45.
1:45.
So let's say 2:00 Wednesday.
2 p.m. Wednesday.
Damn. So this episode actually,
Pacific time.
This episode drops on iTunes on Wednesday. I think. Is my math correct? Yep. So if you're listening to this before 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, hit pause and
December 16th.
Head over to YouTube to check out that we're not calling it natty or not video, but about people staying lean year round.
People staying lean year round are cruising on drugs, man.
They are. That's it.
They're on drugs. I knew it. Who's up? Is it
it's you?
Oh, it's me.
It's you.
I'm at Mark Smelly Bell. Strength is never weakness. Weakness is never strength. Catch y'all later.